What's up, YouTube? This is Go Rose and I'm back with another video. Today I'm going to be talking about how I almost died on the river. Let me tell y'all, I don't know what I was thinking. This is not something that black people normally do, but I am an adventurous. I like doing crazy stuff. There's also some other stuff that I do. I'll probably insert a clip. So yeah, we're gonna insert the clip on some other things that I do for fun. Like what I'm about to insert, this gives me like an adrenaline rush and I love doing it. But anyway, y'all about to find out how I nearly died. I almost died on the river. Tubing. My ex and his family invited me to go tubing. Mind you, they are black, just like me. But they, I don't know, his mom likes to invite me places and stuff. So she was like, you just come with us, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, whatever. Now, him and his brothers thought it was like tubing, you know, where you're on the tube and the boat, when you're on the tube and the string is attached to the tube and the boat is pulling you, that's what they thought. I didn't, you know, I knew tubing, but I didn't think, you know, I knew it was on the river, but I just thought tubing was tubing. I didn't think about being pulled by a boat. I just thought of tubing. I don't know. But anyway, we drive. It's like, I want to say almost an hour away. We drove to, I think, Louisville. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. But we drove to Louisville. We get there. We had to sign a waiver, y'all. When we get there, we're in this like small town. We signed a waiver, and then we drove up the river. So the bus drove us up the river. And when the bus driver was driving us up the river, he was telling us, like, you know, watch out for the sides, there's sharp stuff and there's rocks on the sides, so don't go by the sides. Don't let the water push you to the side on the tube, because if you get on the side, your tube will pop, okay? So we're driving up the river, and then he's saying, okay, when you get to the end of the river, it's not really the end, but where we're supposed to get off the river, don't go past this bridge, because if we go past this bridge, we're gonna end up in another state and they're not gonna be able to come get us. Okay, mind y'all, we sitting there like, what? Like, you know, I'm just like, okay, well, I've been to Costa Rica, I've been in the water with alligators and stuff, so this didn't really scare me, but I was just thinking like, I don't know, I've never been tubing before, so I didn't know what to expect. So we get up the river, and by the time we get up the river, it's like 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and he said that they close. It's not really, I don't know how they close, but they stopped running the tubing thing at 5, or maybe it's 6. I think it was 6. And when we got at the river, at the top of the river at 1, he said it would take 4 hours to float down the river. I didn't believe him, because we really didn't drive that far up the river, but it really did take 4 hours to get all the way down. Mind you, we tubed on the Platte River. The Platte River is not that deep, and the only reason I know that is because I was in it. But there are random drop-offs, and like the random drop, mind you, the currents were really strong though. Like I'm 6'2", so I could stand up in it, and I was not even, I would say I was knee deep. I wasn't no deeper than my knees, but there were certain spots that there were drop-offs, and I would be like, the water would be up here. And if I would have, I don't know, if I didn't know how to swim, it probably would have been over my head. And there were spots that I couldn't feel the ground. So if a current would have picked me up or whatever, and I couldn't, you know, swim and control myself, I could have died. Anyway, I'm still here, so we're gonna get to that. Anyway, mind you, so we're getting off the boat. We're getting off the bus, and we are now getting our tubes. They're giving us our tubes, and they gave us vests or life jackets, whatever you want to call them. So everybody got a life jacket. It's me, my ex, his 2 brothers, his cousin, and 2 of his brother's friends. So it's 7 of us, okay? And we all were in a group together, and we all like tied our tubes together, okay? And then his mom and his sister and all of his other family went in their own group. So it was like 25, 30 of us, okay? So when we started, me and his brothers, all seven of us were tied together. All of our tubes were tied together. So, well, me and my ex, we got a double tube. So I was in one side of the tube and he was in the other. Now we're floating down the river. At the beginning, we realized that it wasn't as, the river wasn't as deep. So like, we were floating down or whatever, and we would end up going towards the side or whatever, where the rocks and stuff was. And we would stand up and then push the tubes back to the middle and then hop back on the tube and float down. Okay, this is, I would insert pictures and videos, but you'll know why. I can't do it. I'm pretty sure y'all know now. Okay, so we floating down river now. We get to a point to where we're starting to go back towards the side again, where all the sharp rocks are and the sticks are. I stand up to push or pull the tubes back to the middle while everybody's on them. So like, we would take turns or whatever, 2 people would do it, whatever. As I'm pushing the tubes, I had one of those waterproof phone cases. Now, everybody had a waterproof phone case. Me and somebody else lost their phone. So when I was pulling the tubes back to the middle, my arm hit like the necklace, the chain, well not the chain, but the rope on that the phone was connected to, and the rope broke. And my phone just fell in the water and I just looked. And at that point, I literally just hopped back in my tube and sat down. I was over it. Like, I was over it. And this was at the beginning. Like, we still had like 3.5 hours before we even got down. We was riding for a minute at that point, so we rode down the river on the tubes for like 2 hours. And then there were like little islands in the middle. You know, we had to go under the bridge, and like a part of the bridge had a whole bunch of branches under it. And then so we had to, you know, move our way over so we could get under the bridge and through the bridge where there wasn't sticks or nothing. So our tubes didn't pop. We get down, further down, and we get to this part where there's this big island. So we pull the tubes up on the island, we stop. Mind you, we're dragging our tubes at this point on the little island. There's not really any sticks, like it's literally just a whole bunch of sand. Dragging these tubes, whatever. We get to go get back in the water. Mind you, at this point, the 2 friends had met us on the island, and the cousin, they met us on the island, but the 2 friends, they tubes had popped. So they didn't have a tube to get the rest of the way down the river. Mind you, we still had like an hour left. So it's people that ride by on boats. The water's not deep enough, so they have them big fan boats or whatever. I think you call it a fan boat. They ride up, we call them over, we tell them that they need another tube. They bring them a tube. They bring them back a tube. They get on the tube or whatever. Now we all start floating down the river again. We start floating, and then all I hear is like air. Now this is my tube and my boyfriend's tube at the time. All I hear is air, and I hear like bubbles, and I'm like, y'all hear that? And they like, yeah. Next thing I know, I'm literally lowering into the water, and I'm just looking like, bro. The water was cold. It wasn't cold, but it wasn't that hot either. Like, I don't know, it just wasn't. I wish the day would, I think if it was a warmer day, it would have been a lot better experience. But it wasn't that warm. Anyway, at this point, I just feel myself sinking, and I know my tube the air is coming out of it, but I don't get up. Like, I just literally sit on it. And I literally just sat there until I'm literally in the water. Now, remember, we have our vest on, so we are floating, but the water is cold as fuck. The water's cold as hell. So we float down river. We get towards where I see another island. Mind you, I'm holding on to my ex's brother's tube, and we're just floating down the river with them. Now, what's crazy is the people who drive by on the boat, you would think that we would say something. We did. We were screaming and yelling, telling them we need another tube, or can y'all just take us to the end? They literally kept driving past us. Literally. They kept going past. They saw us in the water. They said, actually they came by and they were like, oh, you guys can just float the rest of the way.
What?
What does that say, Anaya?
What?
No!
What?
And when I tell y'all, I was so pissed. I was so pissed. 1, the water was cold. 2, I don't know what's in this water. I don't want to be in this water. Get me out of this water. So we come up to where we see another island. At this point, I'm irritated. So I just start swimming. I start swimming over to the island. And then my ex is like, no, come back, da, 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 don't leave me over here with them, and da, da, da. So I go to swim back. When I tell you, I don't know what happened. This current picked me up, and I just started to go. Like, I just started to go. They started screaming, like, get him, grab him. I caught my breath. I got really tired because that water was strong. I got really tired. So I just started to let myself float down the river because, I mean, you're not supposed to fight against the current. You're supposed to go with the current. So I let them catch up to me. I grabbed their tube, and then we ended up all getting to the island. So we had to walk I want to say like another mile to get to the end of the river. Well, not the end, but where we're supposed to get off at. We got to the end, and then I had to get back in the water to get out. So I had to cross this pathway. So it's the island. So the river's over here. There's the island, and then there's the little cutoff that they made so that the water slows down so that we can get off. But mind you, where the cutoff is, the water does pick back up at the end because it's connecting back with the river. So we get to the end, but you have to cross that strong current water to get to the other side where the land is to get off the river. So we had to get back in the water, go across the current. Mind you, when we were walking across, it wasn't as deep when we first got in, and then as you start to walk, it gets deeper because the water's stronger and it's pushing that sand down. So by the time when I'm walking, I'm 6'2", the water is here. I never put my head under that water the whole time I was on that river because I didn't want my face. River water is disgusting. One, irritated, trying to move as fast as possible to get off the river. Two, the rocks are sharp, so we're trying to hurry up and do it. Three, the water's getting deeper, so now I either have to swim or I have to like run across. If I run across, my feet are gonna be cut. If I swim across, I might get pulled down the river. We eventually made it to the end. So, to the beginning of the story, my truck, I can unlock it with my phone. Remember, I lost my phone in the river. Mind you, I had an Apple Watch too. I can do it from my Apple Watch, but I lost my phone in the river. Now at the beginning, before we got on the bus and went up the river, everybody's like, oh, we can put all of our keys in your car since you can unlock it with your phone. So we get to the end and we're all ready to go, and I'm like, oh shit, my phone is in the water. So I went to unlock it from my watch. When I went to unlock it from my watch, it was like, there's no phone connected to the watch, so you can't unlock your truck. So then I'm like, fuck. Everybody's keys is in my truck, so nobody can leave. And I can't unlock my truck. So nobody can leave because everybody's keys is in my vehicle. So I thought about calling AAA, and then I was like, well, I could just log into somebody else's phone. So I did that, unlocked the truck, and then we all left. Would I do it again? I think I would. For that company, probably not. But it was an experience. It was really fun. I like to do, some crazy stuff. And yeah, that was just it. But thank you guys for watching this video. I've gained so many subscribers in the last week. Yeah, week, pretty much the last week. So I appreciate you guys for tuning in. I appreciate you guys for sharing my videos and supporting me. Just again, thank you guys for all the support that you show, and stay tuned for the next video. Stay bougie, secure the bag, and I'm out.